Hello and welcome to day 19. Today we're going to be looking at healthy boundaries. If you're doing self-care but still feel drained, there's a good chance your boundaries are leaking. Today we'll take a real situation from your life and turn it into a clear, kind boundary you can actually use. We've already explored boundaries before in this challenge. Today we're going to take a deeper look at those boundaries. It's important to realise that healthy boundaries aren't about being cold, selfish, or difficult. They're about protecting your time, energy, and emotional space so that you can show up as a kinder, better version of yourself. And when you practice healthy boundaries, you'll feel less resentful and overwhelmed. You'll stop saying yes when your body is screaming no. You'll protect your rest and recovery. You'll build relationships based on respect and not people pleasing. And most importantly, you'll start trusting yourself more. We're going to use a 3-step framework for these healthy boundaries today. Number 1 being to notice. We're going to notice what's draining us. Number 2, we're going to name it. What boundary do we need? And number 3 is the next step. What are we going to do or say to implement this boundary? If you do have a journal, grab it and you can write your notes down there. If not, just think it through with me and you can always write it down later on. So now we'll work through these 3 steps together and I'll give you examples at each stage of potential options you can use. But remember, this is completely unique to you. So you need to think of your own challenges, your own boundaries that you need to set. Step 1 was to notice. Think of one situation that regularly leaves you feeling drained, overwhelmed, used, anxious, or resentful. And an example of this could be when a friend messages you late at night and always wants something from you, or a colleague at work who always dumps stuff on your desk and expects stuff the next day, a family member who vents to you but doesn't ever ask how you're feeling. Or it could be something that occasionally brings you pleasure, but mostly it's just a non-stop noise, such as a group chat on WhatsApp or text message. For this practice, just think of one example today and we'll work through that. If you do have lots that are appearing, then maybe think about coming back to these at a later stage, but for now, just focus on one. And then ask yourself, what's happening? How often does it happen? And how do you feel during and after that experience? And just write down or think about 1 or 2 sentences about how that makes you feel overall. For step 2, this was about naming the boundary that you need in your life. And ask yourself, does this need to happen less frequently, at a different time? Or is it simply that you need to have more privacy? Or that from these, you need to be noticed more and you don't want to be just someone's go-to person for them to vent at. So an example of this could be not responding to work messages after 7 p.m. And this is especially suitable for people who work from home, who can often feel that they are being watched all the time and that they need to have that green icon to say they're active and doing their job. Or it could be that upfront in phone calls you say to them, sorry, I've only got 20 minutes and then I have something else I need to do. Alternatively, it could just be telling yourself something that maybe one night a week you can't go out and do social activities because you need time for yourself. Like in step 1, we're going to write this down, we're going to make our thoughts clear on paper, and this is going to help us work through it a lot easier. If you are, like me, just thinking it through in your mind, that's absolutely fine. But remember, writing it down is going to help you so much more. And finally, step 3, we're going to work out our next steps. And we're going to do this by turning it into words or actions. And there's a simple formula that we can use for this. First, name the situation. Second, state your limit. And third, offer an alternative. The third one is optional. You do not need to do that. You're not obliged to help anyone through their things. Here's a couple of examples that you could adapt to your own boundaries that you need to place. So for work, this could be, I don't check emails after 7 p.m. I'll get to you first thing in the morning. And that can simply be a auto reply that you set for every day after 7 p.m. Another one that could be used for work is, I don't have the capacity to take on that workload right now. If that is coming from your manager and they want you to do it, I would simply suggest to say, I don't have the capacity to take that on right now. Here's what I'm doing. If you would like to suggest something that I could put to the side for now or offload to someone else, then that might help me pick up this piece of work for you. Or for friends or family, if you need to limit phone calls, this could be a simple thing of, I'm happy to talk right now, but in 20 minutes, I need to go rest because I've had a pretty full-on day. Or it could just be, I could talk today, but I can only be for 20 minutes. And you leave it at that. You don't need to give an explanation. Or if it's a group chat, for example, you can just pop a message in there saying, I'm muting this for a while because it's going off non-stop and I need to concentrate on some things. And that's totally fine. If they don't understand, my opinion on this is that that's a them issue. This is not for you to resolve. Now you've had a chance to think about the potential boundaries you're going to put in place and your next steps, write yourself down a little script of what you want to say. If you feel nervous about putting this boundary to someone else, just say it out loud to yourself first. See how it sounds. And perhaps once you've read it out loud to yourself, you think, oh, that sounds a bit harsh. You can go back and adjust the wording slightly to soften it. But try not to apologize too much. This is you protecting your own energy, your own time, your own emotional capacity. So this is important for you and they need to understand that. The next step is when and how to say this to someone. And it might be that you don't actually need to say it in person. You might just need to send them a message. If you do need to say it in person and you feel uncomfortable, then maybe get someone who you can trust to come and support you whilst you're saying this. But hopefully most of the time, people are understanding of the limitations that you're going to put in place to protect your own mental health and your own well-being. Putting boundaries in place can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. This discomfort doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It probably just means you're doing something new, and that's fine. Now, to reflect on today's practice, try to think of what emotions came up when you were thinking about these 3 steps. What are you afraid that might happen? But I think the most important question is, what might happen if you don't set these boundaries? Is it going to affect you in the long term? That's a really important question to ask yourself. I wish you good luck in going out and setting a boundary. It's a brave step to take. And I know from experience, when you do set this boundary, it is uncomfortable when you're doing it, but once you've done it, you're going to feel so much relief. For day 20, tomorrow, we're going to do a digital detox. We're going to create an hour-long routine for you to step away from anything digital. For now, again, good luck in going off and setting your boundary. I will see you tomorrow.